What's up, Kryptonians? Today I'm talking about the new Mission Impossible movie. Sorry that I haven't made a video in like a week. I'm actually in the middle of a move right now. I'm moving into a new spot. I'm setting up a new set, so a lot of things are very fluid and in motion. And I've been working this week and I've been packing, so I haven't really had a lot of time to do videos. I still have a Final Destinations video to do. But today we're talking about Mission Impossible. Why? Because Ethan Hunt asked me to trust him one last time, and god damn it, that's what I did a couple days ago. This one, once again, is directed by Christopher McQuarrie. It stars Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt, of course. The ageless and indomitable Ethan Hunt, apparently. It also stars a host of other really talented people. Simon Pegg is back as Benji, Ving Rhames as Luther, Haley Atwell as the new character Grace that showed up in the last movie. By the way, this movie was actually supposed to be a part 2. It was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and then this was supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2. And the studio was basically like, fuck all that, this is getting too expensive, we're gonna make this movie its own thing. So they changed it, and now we have Dead Reckoning, which was the 7th one, and this one is the Final Reckoning, which is supposedly, again, the last one. This movie takes place a couple of months after the end of Dead Reckoning, and it's about the Entity. The Entity is causing chaos and anarchy all around the world. Now Ethan and his team have to do their best, put their heads together to race against the clock and race around the world, try to stop the Entity, find it, destroy it before it can basically cause global extinction, whatever word you want to use. So this movie actually did make my most anticipated list, I'm pretty sure, even though like I was salty at Christopher McQuarrie for what happened to Ilsa Faust. Granted, I've seen a video from Rebecca Ferguson kind of explaining why she had to leave the franchise, so I'm not as mad at him as I was before. Still stings a little bit. It really feels like since Ghost Protocol on, especially the filmmaking and the technical display that's being put on screen, all of that has been elevated to an incredibly high level. This movie is operating at a very high level. The cinematography is outstanding here. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful looking movie. This movie once again has an incredible musical score. I think Lauren Bath, I could be getting their name wrong. I think they did the score for Fallout and for Dead Reckoning. I'm not entirely sure if they did the score for this one or if the score just sounds Lauren Balfe adjacent, but either way, the score is exhilarating. It's pulse pounding. It is the type of score that gets you hyped and excited. You have not lived until you have seen Ethan Hunt running like in a straight line wherever he's going, and the music is just kind of blaring in the background. It makes you feel like you're a superhero. It makes you feel like you want to get up in the theater and run through the screen and run through a brick wall for Ethan Hunt. Like, that's how those scenes come across, and there's a couple of those in this movie where the score was just and being that this kind of sets up like it's the final Mission Impossible movie, you do feel this undercurrent of emotion kind of floating beneath the surface throughout the entire runtime. And I feel like that emotion comes out the best through the performances. Some of the performers in this movie are giving the best performances maybe that they've ever given in the Mission Impossible franchise. Like, that definitely applies to Tom Cruise here. Ethan Hunt, once again, being the living manifestation of destiny, Tom Cruise really imbues his performance with a ton of subtlety and a ton of emotion. Everyone here from a performance level is operating at the top of their game. Shout out to McQuarrie for bringing the best out of them in that way. I will say this movie does rely heavily on a lot of nostalgia. This movie goes through the greatest hits of the franchise, but there are some callbacks, there are some references that feel organic to the story that they threw in there where I was kind of like, honestly, that's kind of cool. And there are going to be some details and some things from other movies that you're going to look at and you're going to be like, oh shit, that was an awesome Easter egg thing that they threw in there. I didn't even think about that. Do you need to have watched the other Mission Impossible movies to get this one? Not necessarily. I mean, they pretty much hold your hand through the whole process. You should probably watch Dead Reckoning because, again, this was supposed to be a part 2, and Dead Reckoning ties directly into this one, so you probably need to watch that one. You also can't not talk about the action sequences, right? In a Mission Impossible movie, the action sequences, that's like 70% of the reason that you go. And the action here is once again spectacular. There are some sequences, including one on a submarine. It was like one of the greatest set pieces that I've ever seen them do. Like, that was anxiety inducing, and then there's this great plane fight in the movie. Like, there's just a ton of great action here. I'm not willing to say it's the best action of the franchise, but they definitely are probably the most ambitious that the franchise has done. And a franchise that has had the kind of crazy shit that they've done, that's saying a lot. Everything perfectly cut and edited the way that it needs to be for the action scenes to flow, because the Academy is now offering like an award for best stunt work. Like, this movie just submitted a 2.5-hour reel of elite stunt work. I would be shocked if they don't win something at the Oscars next year. And another thing about this movie is it is a crowd pleaser. There are going to be several moments, especially in the second half of this movie, especially in the third act of this movie. So many moments are going to give you chills, are going to get you emotional, they're going to make you raise out of your chair a little bit. I feel like those type of moments are worth going to see the movie for. And this is the part of the video where I wish I could sit here and lie to you guys. I wish I could sit here and tell you that I loved the movie. I wish I could sit here and tell you that it's one of the best Mission Impossible movies. Unfortunately, I have this nagging thing that always enters my head whenever I talk about a movie, and that nagging thing is the constant need to be honest with the audience. And so I gotta be honest with you guys. I enjoyed the movie. I did not like it or love it. The first hour of this movie in particular irritated the ever-living shit out of me. Every Mission Impossible movie and every action movie in general has a lot of exposition, but it's not constant to the point that you feel like they're holding your hands for every single moment of the storytelling. This is the first Mission Impossible movie that I feel like was openly insulting the audience, because the first hour is nothing but endless flashbacks, montages, callbacks, and all of it peppered with enough exposition to make you drive yourself insane. Like, I was going crazy in the theater, and not crazy because of excitement, but crazy because of boredom. They didn't just over-explain it, they also gave you visuals to like show you everything that happened, and it's kind of like, I don't think you need to do that. We're 8 movies in. I feel like your audience is your audience. If it's made for the fans, you should trust the fans. And it's not the first or only Mission Impossible movie where the story of the last one directly affects the story of this one. Rogue Nation and Fallout also had a story that was interconnected, and they never felt the need to hold your hand like you're stupid. And that's what this movie tried to do. It's just endless scene of word vomit where they're waterboarding you with all of these extra details that don't need to be explained. And it's a thing throughout the entire movie, but it's never more prevalent than it is in the first act. It felt like they were just sucking their own dick and swallowing and patting themselves on the back while doing it. The storytelling in this movie felt like Mission Impossible The Greatest Hits and not much else. This is where at a certain point in the movie, it just felt like it was stunts over substance. Now, the movie does settle in and it does kind of lock in sometime during the second act, but there's a lot of bullshit that you have to wade through to get to that point. I will also say the storytelling in general for this movie feels very convoluted. There's a lot of different irons in this fire. There's a lot of different details and a lot of different things all happening at once. They're doing all of that while being probably the most overlong and self-indulgent Mission Impossible movie that we've ever had. Like, this movie's almost 3 hours long, and honestly, I feel like they easily could have cut like 20 to 25 minutes out of this thing. The writing, the character, the pacing, all of that type of stuff, it just kind of goes out the window here. This is the Mission Impossible franchise walking you through their greatest hits, giving itself fellatio until it actually focuses up and tells a story, and even that story feels disappointing and feels like it falls flat. Also, I'm gonna make a simple statement here. Gabriel, the villain, he sucks. Like, he just sucks. He sucks ass. They failed in 2 movies to make him a compelling, really good antagonist. Instead, he's just the guy that shows up and does things, and you don't care, you don't give a shit. He honestly shows up in like the first 30 minutes of this movie, and then you do not see Gabriel legitimately for like 2 hours, and he shows up at the end of the movie, and I'm supposed to give a shit about him as a villain? Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning was enjoyable but disappointing. I'm gonna leave this one in the Daily Planet. All right, guys, have you seen The Final Reckoning? What did you think about it? Give me your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.